Hey everyone, Brendan Snyder here. How are you? Thanks so much for joining me, and welcome to a special review for the brand new Bryan Adams album, Roll with the Punches. This is his 17th studio album, and at least in the US, it was just released on September 5th of 2025. I understand in other territories it came out August 29th. That said, we're just getting it here. I'm going to do a full review and unboxing for you guys of it. We'll dive into it in just a bit. But before we start, if you're new to my channel and haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do. Also leave a comment, hit like. All those things do help support my channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by turning on notifications, you'll never miss an episode and stay up to date on really cool things like this with a review for the brand new Bryan Adams album, Roll with the Punches. So I want to jump back a little bit and just do a quick history run through to bring us up to speed as some of this stuff plays into what I'm about to talk about on it. So kicking off in 1980, he releases his self-titled album, but basically to little fanfare. He follows it up in 1981 with You Want It, You Got It, a good album, but kind of the same thing, runs under the radar until his third album, Cuts Like a Knife, in 1983. He finally breaks through with this album here, but he wasn't done yet, because when he returns in 1984 with Reckless, this one here makes him a household name, a star around the world. In the US alone, he sells 5 million copies of that album. In 87, he continues the success and releases Into the Fire, his fifth studio album, but it would be the Mutt Lange produced sixth studio album, Waking Up the Neighbors, in 1991, that was a super high water mark for him. This one here had him releasing the song Everything I Do It For You. It went #1 in 19 different countries, solidifying his name in the rock pantheon at that point. It sells 4 million copies in the US. So it takes him at that point 5 years to come back, and you would think things would just be dead with the change of the music scene and all that, but he releases 18 Till I Die, and this sells 1 million copies in the US. Just goes to show you the power of the music and the songs and the writing that Bryan has done throughout his career, that even in the changing musical tides that went throughout the 80s and even there into the 90s, that he was able to hold on with all of that. Now, over the years, Bryan has released 9 more albums, 1 movie soundtrack, 1 covers album, even a musical, Pretty Woman. He wrote all the music and lyrics, the songs for that, and then would record his own version of that as an album, putting it out, and 6 more solo albums, which brings us to what we want to talk about, Roll with the Punches. So 17 studio album, there's 10 tracks on here. It clocks in though only at 35 minutes. It's a relatively short album. Now, what's kind of interesting though is that if you go back 7 months to February 7th, he released the title track at that point. In all, he's released 4 singles from it by the time that the album had dropped. And it seems kind of interesting where all the promotion over those 7 months was done for the album. I don't know what's going to happen post-release, but albums are starting to seem a bit more like movies, in that we get, in a movie, various trailers leading up to it, and then everyone runs out and sees it, and all the sales are up front, and then that's it. It doesn't really sustain over the length of, say, a year like albums used to do. And I guess that's with the internet and what's going on, that you can hear everything, so they do it up front before an album drops, before it can be streamed, all that sort of stuff. And that's why we got all of our singles and everything up front. The one that I picked up here is a 2 CD edition of it. You'll see 7 extra tracks listed right there on it. And so the 2 CD deluxe edition comes with a bonus CD that actually has 8 songs on it, even though 7 are listed on the back. The 8th one is a song called Hey Baby, and it was a 1998 B-side to the album On a Day Like Today that came out that year, 1998. So very interesting for him to include 7 of the album's original songs in acoustic format, then an acoustic song of a B-side called Hey Baby. But we get that as the bonus disc, so that's very cool. I'm really curious though why he didn't do all 10 of the album's songs. And the reason I say that is the second CD in here is only 26 minutes long with 8 songs. The regular album, only 35 minutes. And if you add all of that together, that's 61 minutes. And we know a CD can hold up to 79, almost 80 minutes worth of music. It all could have fit on one disc. That said, I am glad it's a single CD because I like to have the album pure. And then I've got this other stuff, but I kind of wish it had been fleshed out to a full-length album. At 8 songs and only 26 minutes, you could have made it a full-length album of all acoustic songs. That said, it's still very great to get it. Now let's talk about the actual album itself. So the album has a very similar style and feel to his previous album, So Happy It Hurts, which came out in 2022. I very much enjoyed this album here. It had him returning to his classic sound, and that's a lot of what we get here on this album. Along with this last album here, Mutt Lange returns. Now he's co-writing, he's not producing, but he started co-writing with Bryan Adams on that one, and he returns here and co-writes 8 of the 10 tracks. So if you liked these albums, which Mutt Lange did, in the hand that he had, now he was also producing these, but we get that great songwriting back, and Bryan's longtime writing partner, Jim Vallance, co-writes on 2 of them. And so the overall sound of this album is that feel-good style and sound that we love from him, that he's so well known for. As I said, his last album returned him to that classic style, and I'm glad that he's continuing it because over the years, he has tended to chase pop trends, and we didn't really have the rockin' Bryan Adams of the 80s and the early 90s until So Happy It Hurts. But good news is he is continuing it for this release here. So gone are those drum loops, backbeats, samples, and things of that nature that had appeared on a number of those later 9 albums. And even at 65, Bryan is 65 years old, his voice sounds really good. So just all in all, this is a good album, but let's get into and talk about the songs now. So track 1, Roll with the Punches, that's a co-write with Mutt Lange, a big bombastic rocker. It opens the album. It was also the first single, and I think it was the right choice for that. Track 2, Make Up Your Mind, a classic feel-good rockin' song. It's got great melody, a big, huge sing-along chorus in it. I think it was perfect as the second single for the album. Track 3, Never Let You Go. This one here is another co-write with Mutt Lange on. It's a slower, mid-paced rocker that really gets stuck in your head, though. The song really kind of soars all the way through. And this one here was the 3rd single. And again, the way that they were getting released, which happens to be the order of the album, was just a perfect, segue into everything. In track 4, a little more understanding, a co-write with Mutt Lange, but also this time with Jim Vallance, and it's a change of pace. This is that left turn that he sometimes does. It's got a funky beat with a really killer groove behind it, and as a 4th single, it was a bit of a surprise, but it was just so much fun hearing it too. And so those were the first 4 songs released from the album, and you might think that with that being the singles and the stuff that came off of it, there really wouldn't be much left to talk about, but you'd be wrong because the album keeps going in such fine fashion at that high level all the way through. Track 5, Life is Beautiful, is an upbeat ballad. Track 6, Love is Stronger Than Hate, is a folksy acoustic song that has a really nice change of pace for you in terms of the flow of the album. Track 7, How's That Working For You, is another change of pace, but this one is a bluesy rocker. Track 8, Two Arms to Hold You, the first real ballad of the album, and it's done in the traditional Bryan Adams style. Track 9, Be the Reason, another great feel-good song. Just feels like you're driving down the highway with the top down. And track 10, Will We Ever Be Friends, is the second ballad. I think it's the best of the two ballads on here, and it's an absolute beautiful way to close out the album. So let's go ahead and take a look at this thing now. This is the cover, but when you get it, it has this on it, like an OBI strip saying Bryan Adams and Roll with the Punches, and it has the UPC and everything on it. But once you buy it, this comes off, the UPC's gone, and just the art remains. And I've been noticing this not only with Bryan Adams albums, but other artists where their name or logo does not appear on the cover. And I find that to be really strange. And that being the case, why sell it with something that says your name only for it to come off? Find a way to integrate it in. I don't know if it's a current trend because I'm seeing it with other artists too or what, but I do question that. The art on here looks like something that Hypnosis would do. Storm Thurgerson, you know, the style of stuff that we would see with Pink Floyd, like the big, huge pig. We have a big, huge boxing glove. Bryan Adams is down there in it. Nowhere on the inside of this does it say who the artist is. At least I couldn't find it. Wikipedia has not recorded it yet. So I don't know. I doubt that it's Hypnosis or one of those firms that's related to Storm Thurgerson doing it. But it's cool album art, I gotta say, and maybe that's why he doesn't want his name on it. He just wants to see the cool art. So that's the front cover anyway, and it does say his name there on the spine, so you do get that. When we open, actually, let's look at the back first. This is a double view. You've got another road with a car on it. You've got a road with no car. Bryan standing here in the glove here. But that's all one shot, so it's a cool way to do that. Then when we do open it, this is what we see first. Boxing that big glove there. It looks kind of like it's a big silver balloon type thing. And then we open it up and we get another killer shot. In fact, I kind of feel like that would have been the better of the album cover because we also get the name, Roll with the Punches, on the back of his robe. This disc for me is very hard to get out. I don't know how yours will be, but it's taken some working to get it loose. I just popped it out. I'm popping it out because I want to show you the whole design of this thing. Now, the funny thing is I'm having trouble with the second disc. So you get another killer trifold, I guess you'd call it. But done the whole thing, I think, has been done very well. Now, the booklet's in this middle part, and it's a little bit difficult to get in there, get my fingers around it and slide it out. And this was the cover of the first single, Roll with the Punches. Before he had announced the album, we got it this way. And what's interesting is the album version has a different beginning to it than the single edition. It edits that part off and it just started into the song itself, the proper end of the song. So it was a little bit jarring at first when I heard the album because I was like, wait, I don't recognize this at all. But that's because we were hearing the single version. So that's the front cover of it. I'm glad they didn't make that the album cover. And then we just get lyrics and who co-writes the songs. No more pictures or anything in there. And we get that on the back side of it. So that's the packaging on this, on the album itself. Bottom line though, I think it's great to have Bryan back, continuing where he left off on So Happy It Hurts, just picking right back up with things. Both of these albums, fantastic. If you didn't know about this one or lost track, go get this one. But this one here, just so good to have him rocking. It's got all the hallmarks that we love from him so much. So of course the rockers, the uplifting lyrics, the sing-along choruses, the beautiful ballads, and that left curve that's always in there somewhere for good measure. It's on here. So for me, this album has everything that I look for a Bryan Adams album. It's what I had hoped for after hearing the 4 singles, but I wasn't quite sure what to expect in terms of the whole album, but it does deliver all the way through. So definitely check this album out. For some reason that you've lost track with Bryan Adams over the years, it is now time to get back in touch and check this album out. It is a really fantastic album, and I believe to be one of the best albums released yet in 2025. So there you go. That is my review for the brand new Bryan Adams album, Roll with the Punches. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Certainly weigh in if you've checked out the album and gave it a listen. I'd be curious to know your thoughts on this album. Yeah, we'll have a great conversation about this thing. But there you go. All right, everyone. Take care. Have a good one. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.